I don't want us to look down and remember we could fall. You took me back in time with you and you love me.
All right, here we go. You ready? Oh, we gotta get that guy going too. Hold on. Check one. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so this is an interesting one for me. A little bit of a new twist. I am alone. It is actually, for me, it's Sunday. For you, it's Monday. I am alone. Alice is off to church with the kids. Why I'm not there is a long story, which we'll get into a little bit later. But it makes her happy, and she's gone. And it's actually a great day for me, too, because when everybody's gone, I get to do stuff. Well, today I'm doing stuff. I'm doing this podcast, but usually it means that I can try to clean. And it's not even... We have so much cleaning to do that it's really just cleaning off the interest of the stuff that needs to be cleaned. But so for today, I'll tackle the dishes, and I'm going to try to clean the kitchen walls, and just from some of the... You don't care. But the point is, so for you, this is January 20th, and it is Inauguration Day. Right now, you may be listening to this or watching this, and Alice and I are at our inauguration party in Wakefield. So it actually comes off and works, etc., and we're having a good time. My fear, or my concern, or I should say, in the corporate world boardroom way to say it is, I found an opportunity to maybe do another show here just in case, because I think that if we get there at 10 a.m., probably get there closer to 9 a.m., and then to 3 p.m., watch the inauguration, say hi, have fun, sing, dance, have a couple drinks, and etc. And we've got to be back up where we live near Newburyport because my daughter has play practice. So, but I just, it's too unpredictable. There's too many things. I mean, this is the story of our lives, is that, and maybe it's the story of your life too, is that there's just too many things. There's too many things going on to get anything done. Other than things going on, because we got a lot of kids and they do a lot of activities, and so she's got play practice. My son now goes skiing, which is great. I'm thrilled that he's into it. 2 other guys, we just quit karate, but they're all going to be taking swimming lessons soon. One of them may be starting to play soccer, which I hope he does, because it's good exercise. Even if you don't like it, it was kind of thing. As a kid, for me, I was a baseball guy, but I also played soccer because it was there, and, and I knew the rules. And the kids aren't like that anymore. Like, we knew every sport when I grew up. Probably the same with you, because you play it out in the street. I grew up in a dead end, and so we'd play football, wiffle ball, kickball, street hockey, basketball down the street, and we'd play everything. And there'd be, like, we had one kid who was a good cheater at stuff, and I was a pretty good hitter, but I had no power, really. It's the story of my life, actually. And so, like, we had rivalries, and it was a great way to... It's a great education about not only about how to play the game and skills, but diplomacy and, debate and this and that. Undoubtedly, we paired off, and there'd always be a split, because there'd always be a grudge between two people. I was hooked up with a kid who cheated the most. His name was Murph. He's also really good at sports, but he did not mind cheating at all. Saying something was a home run but he was fun. He also, for a cheater, Murph was very good athletically. He put himself out there. Like, he would dive, full body dive, and, like, flop onto the ground for a foul ball. He was coaches loved Murph. And it was funny. Just one of those athletic good kids. And then there was the rest of us, kind of. At baseball, I was probably next to Murph good. And I was hooked up with Murph a lot. So I was on the cheating team a lot, although I wasn't doing too much cheating. But it was just, fun. This is how you learn to do things. So we learned how to play every sport, and soccer and, rudimentary. You guys know, you're probably the same age as me or around there. That's what you did. You stayed out, and then the light would come on, and then you'd stay out as long as you could. And in summer, certainly, the lamp coming on meant that like bats would be out, and if bats were out, we could grab a pantyhose and throw a ball in there and throw it up in the air, see if you can catch one. They'd go after it. So yeah, like there was a lot to do outside. So you always learned how to do stuff. So even if there was a pickup game of like flag football, whatever, growing up, I could get in there and I'd play. And I knew essentially the rules. I knew there was, 4 downs and, you go that way and I want to get an interception. So, but my kids don't have any of that. They don't have the rules. My daughter has softball now because she's been playing forever. So she gets the rules. But other than that, like the kids, they don't play all those things. And they also, and I felt it was a failure of mine because we also just don't have it on at the house. And they're not all that interested. There's so many other choices. They'd rather be playing Fortnite or playing a game or whatever, Roblox or watching stupid YouTube smash cut stuff. And so it's just not, it was a failing, I guess. And plus me and Alice just didn't have the baseball game on or the basketball game on or whatever. We just don't. We're not, that's, in our spare time, that's not what we were into. But like if you grew up in the 70s and 80s, on the weekends, there wasn't too much on. So my dad had a black and white TV. I'm sure yours did too. In the 70s that we bought. I remember buying him going out to Leechmere and buying a new black and white TV. Can you imagine that? And just the Sox game would be on constantly. So it's seep into you. The idea of competition would seep into you. You knew what you were doing. You knew the grandeur of Carl Yastrzemski hitting a home run or Fred Lynn or Carlton Fisk or whatever. And, me and my friends growing up with those little kids, we always, like, you wanted to be two people. You wanted to be Jim Rice or you wanted to be Dwight Evans for the Red Sox when we'd play with football or baseball or whatever. And you wanted the grandeur of a walk-off home run or any home run or whatever it was, because you were into it. And you wanted to beat the other guys, to hit the competition. Well, my kids never, they weren't inert. I mean, they were kids who did stuff. And my kids climbed trees and go sledding and this and that. But they didn't, my son played flag football a few years back. And he didn't understand, why he would aggressively be chasing somebody. He didn't understand why he would do that. He didn't understand, one time I remember one of my sons, he wanted to get a goal in soccer. And I said, but there was no real, and I said, you need to want to get that goal. I even tried to bribe them $20. You need to want to put the ball in that net over there. And he didn't I could tell him he wanted to, but it was like telling him that he wanted to, eat pork fried rice when he didn't. It's I don't know why. I don't get it. But because they can get satisfaction and glory through video games and other stuff now, didn't realize how to do it. And I was like, listen, just stand over there. Well, next time the ball comes up, you run ahead and get next to that net and kick it in the net. And he ran next to the net. And the kid passed the ball to him, went past him or something, and he was like, why don't I have a goal now? He said, I stood next to the net like I was supposed to. I was like, no. You have to stop the ball or re-guide the ball and kick it into the net, bring it to the... Oh, and he just didn't understand, why. And, if kids don't have that, if they don't have this passion for all of these games, then they don't understand a lot of times, why am I doing this? If you see, if you grew up watching Michael Jordan, jump 28 feet in the air and hang onto the net afterwards and see that incredible feat, then you've got a passion for it and you know why you're doing it. But my kids, and many kids, not just my kids, don't really have that. Sally does somewhat, but girls softball is also different than boys. Girls softball, they're singing taunting chants to each other. And boys would never do that. Girls softball, sometimes they, you can tell they've thrown in the towel. And, it would be just totally, you'd be called out. And their coach does, good for them. But, boys and girls, their temperament is different. Boys are feral animals. So they like that kind of stuff. And that's why I'm glad my one son is getting into skiing now, because now it's perfect for him because he's a solitary kind of guy, but he does it with his bros. But when skiing, you're ultimately alone regardless. It's you on your own adventure. But his bros are there. His guys are there. So, and I love that. We're learning together. We're learning, like, how to adjust skis and do this and that. It's something I never thought I'd do, which I kind of like, at this advanced age, doing that, learning that. But the whole reason I actually brought this up is, like, my son has been playing, one of my other sons, I don't even know what he is, 7-year-old, I don't know. He's been playing basketball, youth basketball, which they all did at one point or another. It was like total waste because, once again, they don't know why they're there. They don't know why they pursue somebody. They don't know why somebody would steal the ball, but they'd let them steal the ball from them. They don't know why like getting it over there in that basket, why you'd have to dribble it to do. But with his one son, it's stuck, and he's now dribbling the ball. And I think that's very good because it's just like in his spare time, he's dribbling. Of course, it's in the house and it's like right in front of the TV, but whatever, I'll take it. But that shows that he's getting an affection for the activity. It's like if you buy a guitar as a young person, you are always sitting with your guitar and strumming and learning. Like you're getting this affection for it. So it was the same thing when I was a kid. I would, at my dad's apartment, my parents were divorced, my dad's apartment, or my mom's house, or my neighbor, Murph's house, I would always throw the ball against the wall if nobody was around or whatever. I'd always be throwing the ball, because I loved it. And I play little games where you guys know, boys will know this. I guess now girls may know too. You throw the ball so it like hits perfectly, so it goes over your head, so it's a home run. And it was. And also, it's helping your motor skills, your hand-eye coordination to get around doing it. Now I can't. Tragically, I can't throw at all. I can't, like, my whatever throw muscles there are gone. I can't. Like, my left hand is as good as my right hand now. I don't know. It happened in my 20s. I don't know what happened. It doesn't matter. But so this is a revolutionary thing that happened in my house. Is he's really into basketball, and now he wants to go to a basketball game. And I'm like, well, this is good because then he'll see what it's about. So yesterday we turned on the Celtics at 6:54. He said, I want to watch a basketball game, and there happened to be a Celtics game coming on at 7. So we turned on the Celtics game, and the last time I watched a full basketball game, 20 years ago, maybe maybe in the 80s. But there's a lot more lights and buzzers now, etc. But we watched the game, and it was very entertaining, and he got into it. I thought, there we go. He's gonna get snagged by this and want to do this stuff. And I don't even know, I don't know if he's gonna be tall or what, but it's very fun to see. But I got one child who's much more of a creative actor, singer, artist kind of guy. I've got the solitary skier, and now the basketball kid, which I'm thrilled about. Which is really like what the rest of my life is. It's just about doing these activities with them, bringing them places, and I'm fine. Like, I retired. I retired in my 20s. Some of my friends, some of you guys watching now, were there with me. We just spent our entire 20s into, like, a couple of years into the 30s just having fun and partying and having fun. Totally, completely frivolous. I was in love a couple times, or once maybe, and a couple of girlfriends there. So then I thought that my life would go one way, but it didn't. So I already had my retirement. When I was young and good looking, I had my retirement. What I'm going to do until I'm now into coffin is just hang out with kids stuff, etc. And I'm absolutely fine with that. I'm fine with that. Actually, I kind of, even though it's highly irresponsible, and I would have been in a much better financial position had I sucked it up and not gotten instant gratification in my 20s. It's kind of the time to do it too. It's like, So the reason I bring that up is. So yes, I'm thrilled my son is into basketball, and that's good. Now, it reminded me of kind of the origins of this podcast. Really, is it's about a lot. It's originally about saying what the hell's going on. This is summer of 2020, and like you, I was like, okay, what the freak is happening? I'd done lots of like semi podcasts, whatever, when I was with the Boston Herald and. 2020 was with the Lowell Sun, and I started to do some. The Sun and the Herald are owned by a hedge fund now. It became a nightmarish thing, and I did the podcast. In between laying people off, I would do the podcast just to trying to check in with the world. It was my own vehicle to do. I was on in 2020 on with Jerry Callahan a lot, which I really liked. I liked a lot with Jerry. It's interesting when you get to when you work with these guys like with Jerry. He's got high standards and he's a good broadcaster. And there's a key to it. The signs that you give each other when you're broadcasting. I used to watch them do it. It's funny. And in WRKO, when I was with WRKO, the production guy, Smitty, Bill Smith, who you would know his voice if you're from the Boston market, great guy. He used to tell me all the time to watch Dennis and Callahan. He'd say, watch them, watch the big show, watch the communications, because it's all Glenn pointing here, there. This one, do you want to stretch out a little bit, or do you want to wrap it up, or do you want to? It's going to be you next. Do you have something to say? Do you want to talk to the guest? It's all hand signals, which all you have to use in radio because you can't just say, do you have any more questions for the guest? Or whatever it is. But it was funny because Jerry was meticulous like that too. He was always into you. It's a very John Sapichetti thing too. But I liked doing it in person, wasn't it? Because obviously I was a Callahan fan, and then I was in his, remote studio, and it was good. And he's also just a funny guy, and so I loved doing that. And that was the summer of 2020 when I got the Burn Barrel started. And I was thrilled when he started the Time Shadows Burn Barrel. I was thrilled that anybody was listening. I think we were on SoundCloud, and I couldn't believe it. Was like, Alice, there's been like 53 people listen to this, and obviously the audience has grown a lot, and I talk about getting recognized from the Burn Barrel, and it is the absolute. It's that to me. I know I come off like immature and overly excited, but it's because it's my very own thing that to get that validation, to be on a long walk and have somebody say, "Hey, Tom, I love your putt," that's a different kind of validation, because it's my very own thing. It's not as if somebody heard me on the radio. Which is also obviously I loved too. I remember being with Alice, and me and Alice were painting the fence at our new house in 2011 in Melrose, and a dude drove by in a pickup truck and said, "Hey, Shattuck, Michelle Obama's a fat," which was something I used to say when I was irreverent and younger on the air. And I thought, isn't this great? Just painting a fence here, and I thought it was just wonderful. But anyway, the whole Burn Barrel coming together was a part of that, because Alice Shattuck, who's my wife, who I continue to find, I'm sorry, to each his own, but I continue to find her very attractive. I do. And she's got a lot of good traits. I'm very lucky. I really am. So there was a time, and it was 2010, I think, or late in 2009 maybe, that I started to get a little bit of attention from a couple of women in my age who thought that I was cool, or I assume they thought I was cool. These are conservative women, very attractive. Some were astoundingly attractive, as a matter of fact, and just would see me at functions, say hi, and I could tell that they were they had a bit of a crush. Believe me, I am not. This is not my ego doing anything. Believe me, my overall record in life is absolutely abysmal as far as any of that stuff goes. But that's why it was a standout. I was like, wow, I'm getting some great attention. This is great. Right around that time, we were doing radio. Me and Michael Graham, who's now with the New Hampshire Journal. He owns the New Hampshire Journal, as a matter of fact. InsideSources.com. He's the hardest working guy in show business. Oh, now I guess in journalism. So we were talking. I think the topic was, I think it was texting and driving or something. And I was a big texting and driving advocate at that time, which seems like I don't think they'd let me say now. But I was, and actually I was honest about it, that it was a very efficient thing to do. I realized, I understand that it's very dangerous, etc. At the time, I was I was thrilled to be on the air and talking about it. It ticked people off when I would say it. And and he and I would get in heated debate. Michael and I would get in heated debates about lots of stuff, that and pit bulls and this. I called for the annihilation of all the pit bulls. And so we'd get in these arguments, and it was not, it wasn't a bit, because he and I would go through topics before the show, Michael and I, and we'd get in arguments, and we'd debate each other and call each other's names, etc., and sometimes loudly. And I remember management would tell us to stop it. Guys, no. And I was like, what are you doing? No, this is what you want. You want two creative people, content people, actually getting emotional at each other about stuff. Yes, you do. Because no, guys, what's with the swearing, guys? It's like, oh, freaking! Obviously, those guys, they were out of the sales department. They had no idea. But we were hitting the ground. We hit our stride. Me and Michael Graham, after a year of not hitting our stride. And I had been, used to bring me on the air, and I'd read headlines, and I was so nervous that I just cracked. It was just terrible, and then they banned me from being on the air. And then Michael slowly, to stick it to the program director, forced me to be on the air. And while I'm pressing buttons, that was my job, to press buttons, occasionally answer phone calls, unless we got an intern in there. And Michael was it was very good for me, because it's nerve-wracking to be on the air when you're not an on-air guy. Is very nerve-wracking. There's the moment you hit your mic on, you've got headphones on, everything goes, all the sounds go away, and all there is you, your mic, and him. And it's nerve-wracking at first when you haven't done it. So he would talk to me and say, Grain Power Tom, so you're a big texter and driver. What are you going to do one day when you hit somebody? And he would sometimes then turn away from his mic and start working on his computer and just leave me there to talk and just fill the air. So I had to learn by trial by fire that, he's gone. Now I got to fill. I got to keep talking and try to make it interesting. And eventually you get comfortable enough to actually be able to actually be able to think in real time while it's all happening. So I could actually, my mind could actually work as this was happening, and you get more comfortable. And once you get comfortable, then you're good. Then once you're comfortable, it's all set. So anyway, this is, you're probably wondering what the point of this particular podcast is, but it's kind of the beginning of how we all got here. Or at least how I got here, how all else got here. So one time, I was talking about, I think it was texting or driving, and a caller called in, so like Alice from Lexington or something. And I was like, well, that's interesting. Alice from Lexington. And somebody else screened the call, I think. I thought, it's good that there's a woman. We always wanted female callers. And that station was on FM, so we got a bunch of women callers. But then Alice got on and was young. I thought, her voice is so young. And she was defending me against him. Saying, yeah, no, Michael, you're wrong about this, because Tom's right, because you can double. So she was taking not only the heel position, but defending me, but she also sounded young. And I thought, where is an Alice who's under 70? And then I was like, wow, that was great that we had her on, because she was feisty and young, and she sounded, Alice has got and some people don't think so, but I've always thought she's got a very pretty and feminine voice. It reminds me of the girl, this blonde girl from the early 2000s who was in a bunch of movies with Ben Stiller. You would remember Mandy Skanjic or something. I don't know. But her voice was always, and I've had other people say this too, her voice is always like very feminine and pretty. Maybe it doesn't come like that in the podcast if she's talking politics or whatever, but it was something that struck me at first. So I was like intrigued. I was like, hey, that's great. And I heard her at least one or two times call out other shows. I think I heard her with the Andelmans. I thought, isn't that great? This young lady named Alice is listening to us, and she took my side. And obviously, I'm like all for it. So then, right around that time, I get a Facebook friend request. This is around February 7th, 2010. And it's a friend request from this woman named Alice something. And it says, hey, I'm a big fan of you and Michael, essentially. But I agree with you on the topic. Would love you to be friends or something like that. Facebook friends. So and obviously, then I'm perusing her every single picture I can find of her because I'm a pervert and or just a man, human being, heterosexual, whatever. And I find her online. I find her on the Facebook thing, and she's like really attractive and like young, and I'm like, what's going on here? So I said, so I respond to her. So then now I'm like I realize this is battle now. There's a pretty woman who's reached out to me. So there are over 53 million ways I can ruin this, and I probably will. So I've got to be careful. So I've got to first play cool, as if I've got lots of 23-year-old blondes who are interested in me. And what I did a really smart thing, also creeping, is that I worked with this other producer who had thousands of Facebook friends, and most of them were attractive women. And I thought, wow, these all like women love this dude. And he's like, yeah, I used to work for this rock station in Manhattan. I'm like, man, look at all your Facebook friends. It's like all of these girls get into the club first. And so I started to randomly friend Facebook attractive women, just so that other people would see they were my friends. And Facebook, like Zuckerberg, like almost like personally said, like, stop scaring the Eastern Seaboard, please, you freaking creep. But I did it anyway. And even though Facebook told me a couple times, please stop. Okay, you don't know any of these people. You're a sick get help. Whatever. But I just wanted I wanted to see for my public persona. So I still have some of them, as a matter of fact. Some of them, I have no idea. I would assume most have blocked me. But so this is back into 2010. So I'm wondering if maybe Alice saw how cool I was. Because I had these like 1,000 Facebook friends. I'm very attractive. And, so anyway, Alice has reached out to me on Facebook. We're Facebook friends. And she said, thanks for whatever, you're so right on the issue. I said, thanks, Alice. I intend to recalibrate MG by the end of this year. Tom. MG is Michael Graham. So it's a very curt, short, pithy message. As if I have better things to be doing. You know, I'll give you 11 words, you know, and then put you with the rest of the blondes who are reaching out to me. Because she then waits 2 days to respond. So now we've got a game here. This is a cat and mouse game. She says, good luck with that, exclamation point. You guys make me laugh so much in the mornings. It like made my week. I love that she said it like, and she like wrote it like. It like, which also comes off very young, which maybe is her ruse. It like made my week that you accepted my friend request. This is better than getting put through to talk to Michael. Okay, well, I'm obviously a huge nerd, so I'll stop. But thanks, and thank you for what you do, truly. And listen to this. Listen to this. You're the coolest! Exclamation point, Alice. At this point, obviously, I'm in. At this point, I'm like, okay. This is a positive step. February 10th, I say, happy birthday, Alice. Hope to meet you one day. There we go. I hope you are celebrating suitably. She waits till February 11th. Once again, being cool. Waiting at least a day. She says, thank you. You never know. Ellipsis. Yes, I think at the time you messaged me, I was probably kicking butt at hyper-competitive and slightly tipsy chess. That's obviously a lie. But she's saying something that an old fool like me will think is cool and sexy and hip and quirky and weird. And of course I did. I'm sure I sent a screenshot of these to all my dude friends at the time. I come back. Oh, wait. That's February 11th. I wait 2 days. Two can play at this game. I come back. Strategy games and alcohol are a great mix. We had drunk trivia on the Jim and Marjorie cruise last night. Vodka brought out some creative answers. There you go. Jim, Marjorie Egan and Jim Browdy, who actually were fun to party with, especially Marjorie. She was very fun. Here we go. Alice, of course, waits another day because she's not going to get right back to me because she's got to show that she's cool. Yes, alcohol-induced creativity is helpful in some activities. Not sure chess or trivia competitions fall into that category. The blue books for exam answers at my university say, quote, use your imagination. So she university, you get that? So she's a co-ed. Use your imagination. on the front cover. And once a math professor's, it's a typo over here, and once a math professor told us that probably wasn't the best advice for succeeding on his exams, LOL. I think that's a related phenomenon. She then goes, next paragraph. Speaking of math, by the way, I wanted to mention to you that I don't think that the fact that talking on cell phones causes more crashes than texting proves that it is more dangerous. It could just mean that very few people text while driving because most people understand that it's ridiculously unsafe. I agree with you anyway, actually, because I think that anything you do while driving can cause you to crash, and that we should really just ban being an idiot and not thinking about the road while driving if we're going to start banning things. So now she's engaging with me on the topic. So I get back to her a day later. Here we go. This is a fishing expedition right here. I get back to her and say, how did you get through, assuming you are through, college as a conservative? Here we go. Do you have conservative friends? What about friends who listen to talk radio? I like this trend. We've had some interns who are 23, and Phoenix Mountwood, who was a co-host, is 23. I think they all have been wild-eyed liberals or just basically idiots, to put it simple. Right on about the texting and driving. Graham is a classic anti-textite, and he is more angry about the lifestyle of texters than the crime of texting and driving. At the end of the day, though, you're correct. We cannot use trend-based animosity as a portal for law enforcement to enter even more realms of our lives. Nice libertarian angle, Tom. So she goes, unfortunately not through college yet. I'm kind of different from most college students because I work and rent a place and pay bills, do that sort of full-time thing, and then I just show up for classes because it's actually something that I want to do. I think that's the reason mostly. So yada, 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 yada. She goes on and on and on. I said, what are you majoring in? Yada, yada, yada. So I then go into a bunch of lies about the things I'm into. She's got all this stuff. She's got all this stuff. I say there's way too much intriguing stuff about you to reply with what time I have at the moment. I have to step out briefly. Do you do the Facebook chat thing? I used to get piled on and turned it off. And then I sent her my number, February 18th. If you get on and I am not around, send a text to me. Let me know. And there's my number. I'll try to jump on. And then I say, thanks for the drunk text. Sorry for the harassment. Yada, yada, yada. So then, and I know I'm reading this. So then one thing leads to another. I lied to her about all of my interests. I lied to her about everything because I realized that I'm dealing with somebody much better than me. And then we went out on a date, and she was so beautiful when she came to. First of all, I used a tag team approach, but that's misleading. But I used a zone offense on her. So I had her come to the station, and she walked in. She was so freaking gorgeous that the sales dudes all started gathering around, and they're like, "What's going on here? Who's this? Who's this?" She beautiful blonde. I remember the sweater she was wearing, and she fooled me with this fake height thing, and she was just this like gorgeous thing, and I'm like, holy God, because she didn't look as beautiful in pictures, and I was like, this is a problem, and at one point, I actually asked her, Alice, hey, nice to have you here. Can you just stay right here for a second? And I ran into the production guy, and I told him to go out there and look. His name was Doug, and I said, come back in. And he said, holy Jesus, Tom, holy hell, she's really really hot. And this is. So I had Doug Palmieri, the production guy, and Mel Robbins, you may know, she was an on-air talent at the time, joined me in taking Alice out to Post 390, I think. It was a nouveau restaurant then, and now it's probably old school, if it's even around, in kind of the Copley area. And we got Kobe hot dogs and some other things, etc. And Alice was like, even at my station, everything I said, she laughed at and thought was funny. Like I couldn't do wrong. Everything I said was hitting. Everything was funny or deep or thoughtful, and she kept like making these like eyes at me, like, and I thought, and I'm serious about this. I thought at that moment that I was being punked. Like the actual show, I think may have still been on. I thought that I was somebody was effing with me, because this couldn't be. She could not be this much of a thinker and math nerd and libertarian and this beautiful and like me. There was no way. Something had to be wrong. I also thought there's a chance that maybe she's really a man, and this is what this is all about. So we go on a date, and Mel Robbins took her aside with girls go to the bathroom together and fished for information, etc. And Mel came back and said, "You're doing really well. She's like really into you." And everybody got mad at me. And she's like, "Tom, you need to lose weight. If you're gonna be with her, you need to lose weight. You know how good she looks, and Tom, look at you." And Doug was like, "Yeah, Tom, I think she she likes you." And I was like, this is crazy. Like, how do I, okay. So then Alice and I went out to another bar where she continued to stare into me as she's talking to me and being lovely and beautiful and etc. I assumed that most people at the bar thought I was human trafficking, whatever. I know that there's definitely around those times some people definitely thought something was up. And then I said, I'm going to go for broke here and just see where we are here, what's happening here. And I made a pass at her in the bar. I know it's ridiculous. I went to kiss her in the bar, and she was receptive. And I didn't care. I was like, this. I know the bars are not for that, and that's like a bad look, etc. I was like, I don't care what happens at this point. If she stabs me with this steak knife, the fact that I'm kissing this beautiful blonde, and there are witnesses, whether they like it or not, means I've peaked and I can die now. And so we hung out. We started. By the way, I was telling all my friends, like couple friends, etc. at the time, were like, "Wow, Tom, yeah, it's marvelous. She's great, etc." But the thought was that it can't be. She's 23. I was 37. Like, it's not going to work. She's obviously hot and great, etc. And this seems like it might be a great romance while it lasts, etc. But it's not a serious thing because she's just a kid, etc. So, and I kind of with my friends said, "Yeah, you're probably right." I mean, you saw that she typed in her Facebook things. She was much younger than me. She'd bound around. She would switch the radio station when she'd sit in my car. Switch the radio station and keep switching. Switch to different stations, which is something I hadn't done since 1988. So she was very young that way. But at the same time, even though we had resolved she wanted us to be a thing, and I was like, we need to be a little bit careful here, Alice, because there is a sizable age difference here, and so let's be. So I kind of put us on ice a little bit, but she was resolved. Those little cold Serbian eyes were she was big game hunting in the sense that I'm big game, in the sense that I'm big. And so we just kept hanging out. We went to go to the Freedom Trail and check out other things that we just were shared interests. So we were already friends with shared interests, and we went on the Minuteman Trail in Lexington and Concord and all this stuff, and did all this stuff together. You can see a YouTube that shows us at the Concord Bridge, and with my Greyhound, etc. And she just came off like a co-ed, but she was a deep thinker, and she was just so fun. So she just kept being so fun. So it was who says we can't be together? We keep being together and having incredible amounts of fun. Obviously, it works for me because she's dating the uglier person in the relationship, and I'm dating the beautiful person. But she's having the time of her life. She's we never stopped laughing. So that's what really got us together. And we never thought of our age difference, because she's more mature than I am. She is. I mean, or any of that stuff. And that's how Alice and Tom are together. And then came a slew of kids, and now I'm watching Celtics basketball with my son, and currently right now attending inauguration party with you guys, the great listeners of the Burn Barrel. And although this has been kind of a totally personal burn barrel, I will tell you that I do think that this country has had a cultural shift. Absolutely. I think that just the look and feel, if you look at the Trump's cabinet people, there's a picture of them all on the steps of somewhere, I guess maybe it was the Capitol, and they're pretty all dynamic looking in their own way. And they're not like freakish looking in any way. Nobody looks like, look at me. They happen to be dynamic looking. It's just, for me, it's a break. Like, I don't want to see Janet Yellen and Rachel Levine ever in my life again. I don't want like little trolly people making decisions for me ever again. I don't want even people like me making decisions for me ever again. I want there to be people who look like they've got some cognitive acumen and are ideologues and pragmatists at the same time. That's it. And like you look at RFK Jr. and yeah, he's a mess. His life has been a mess. At the same time, he's done some stuff. And the same with Tulsi Gabbard. Imagine being, your own party calling you a Russian asset for years. And she met, she met with Assad a couple times. F you. I say F you to you. If you're supposed to tell me that it's verboten now that I even say something nice about Tulsi Gabbard because she met with Assad. Everybody met with Assad at one time or another. Anytime the left tells you that it's forbidden for you to like something or do something, to me, that's the F you. Those days are over. You guys have no credibility. And I don't care. And I don't care that Trump wants to meet with Xi Jinping or Kim Jong-un or Putin, or that Trump likes some of these guys. Fine, who cares? Sometimes you like some of these guys. It's the real world here. And we have to do real adult things. That means we're going to talk with some bad people and have... I was just listening this morning to the Rest is History podcast, and it was about the ascension of Hitler and my daughter. And he talked about Stalin. And she said, which one is Stalin? I said, he's the Russian guy who killed millions of his own people. And she said, wait, I thought we worked with him in World War II, and he's a good guy. I said, well, he's not a good guy, but he was our ally in World War II. And it's like, that's the question. The thing is that reality isn't symmetrical. And so as soon as we can get our arms around that, then we can all move along. Sometimes in life, things are just a cluster bleep. But you dust yourself off and get up and make stuff happen. That's what it is. Like John Lennon was right when he said, life is what happens to you when you're busy making other plans. That's exactly right. Life is going to happen no matter what. Life Lessons by Tom Shattuck. Life is going to happen no matter what. So you better, who was it? Get busy living or get busy dying? Is that Shawshank Redemption? But that's true. Like it's moving past you regardless. It is flying. The days and hours are going past you regardless. You can say, woe is me, and to take a snapshot and say, well, that doesn't seem to be quite right. And just, decide to roll up and be mediocre, but it's not with any, there's no utility in it, really. Which is another reason why I don't really binge watch a lot of TV shows. It's like, so that's why I resent board games. There's got to be something else we could do rather than escape life. I kind of like life. But anyway, guys, thank you so much. Thank you for everything. I don't know. So this is Monday, and it will be published for Monday. And I don't know if something's going to be happening a real show on Monday, maybe with me and Alice after the inauguration party. But we've got play practice, and we got to get them ready for school. And Alice has work to do. Her new job it's a big job. It's a great job, but it's a big, big job. So who knows? So this is probably the show, and it's a little bit of a different show. I realize it's not much politics here, but that is my story and our story. And so yes, and that is why Alice and I are doing the Burn Barrel, and that's one of the reasons that we do it together, because it gives us a chance to do something together. It's not as easy to walk down the Minuteman Trail anymore. Those days are over together. So Alice and I, walk down the podcast trail just about every day, and that's how we commune with each other and have a conversation with each other. and laugh with each other. And just like it's just, you know what it is? These are just more recent dates. She still looks beautiful. I'm more decrepit than ever, but that's what it is. But now we've got dates, and now we've got a huge family, which is what you guys are. Friends and family, literally friends and family, and just the podcast family, etc. And so I say congratulations to everybody out there as well. We'd love to hear your origin story as well, if you'd like to let us know. Let me know, guys, if you were as deceitful to your paramour as I was to Alice. Absolutely. It was done out of necessity, of course, but then again, she lied too, I think. I think she did lie. One time she said she was out. She said she was out hitting the town with her friends at Faneuil Hall, and she couldn't meet me because she was out at Faneuil Hall hitting the town with all her friends, and she was just like home alone, like drinking eggnog or something. But then again, everybody lies, right? So anyway, thank you guys. As usual, this is where Alice usually talks. You guys are the best. Smash that like button. I don't even know. Oh, TikTok is down. It's gone. Oh my goodness. How am I going to get rich quick now? Gonna need a new platform. You guys are the best. See you soon, as usually. Sayonara.
C'est la vie.